explainer. Seriously, I am absolutely pumped to share this with you today because we're talking about a total paradigm shift. If you're tired of being a manual pixel pusher, just feeling like you're constantly racing against the clock just to get the most basic elements of your design laid out on the screen, then you are in the exact right place. Today, our goal is super simple. We're going to transform you from a stressed out, overworked designer into a highly efficient, high-level creative director.
Let's be real for a second. Raise your hand if you've ever lived this exact painful reality. You spend, say, 3 hours painstakingly removing a complex background, or you burn 6 whole hours sketching out these brilliant initial concepts, only for the client to come back with something completely trivial, like, hey, can you just make the logo bigger? It is incredibly frustrating to waste your precious creative hours on tedious, repetitive manual labor when you know your brain should really be focusing on the big picture.
Well, look, it's time to stop fighting the clock. Welcome to the AI revolution. In this explainer, I'm handing you 10 absolute weapons. And just to be totally clear, these are not toys. They're powerful tools built for creative speed demons. We're going to cover the whole shebang, from image generation and vector editing right through to UI, UX, and animation. If you implement the workflow we're about to break down, you can save yourself up to 20 hours a week. Yeah, you heard that right, 20 hours. All right, let's break this down into a logical workflow, starting right at the beginning with phase 1, ideation and brand identity. Okay, we all know the absolute worst part of design, right? Staring at that terrifying blank page. You know that terrible feeling when a client asks for a modern, minimalist logo for a coffee shop, and your mind just goes totally 100% blank? Enter tool number 10, Khoro. This thing acts as your ultimate brainstorming partner. You just type in a vibe, and it spits out 50 concepts in literal seconds. It's exactly like having a junior designer sitting next to you who works at light speed. Now, obviously you don't just copy the output. You use it to steal the vibe and instantly populate your mood boards to get that momentum going. Now, for my freelancers out there, putting together logos for a portfolio project is typically a 3-hour manual slog. But with tool number 7, Looka, that tedious chore is just gone. Looka is a complete brand identity wizard. You literally just feed it 2 keywords, and it builds an entire brand identity system on the spot. The real secret sauce here is the brand kit export. It gives you your color hex codes, font pairs, and mockups that are completely ready to just drop into your client presentations. It turns a 3-hour headache into a 30-second breeze. Once your vibe and brand are locked in, we move right into phase 2, core asset creation. This is where the heavy lifting happens. Okay, tough love time. If you are still using the Magic Wand tool in 2024, we need to have a serious intervention. This brings us to tool number 9, the grandfather of speed itself, Remove.bg. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know that one. It's been around forever. But guys, the new update is unbelievable. It now handles complex edges like hair and fur with 0 issues. So, while your competition is manually clicking away with the pen tool for 10 minutes straight, you're getting a flawless, instant cutout with just one single click. The whole game here is eliminating friction, right? And tool number 8 does exactly that. Patterned.ai gives you literal superpowers for surface design. Look, surface pattern design used to require hours of complex tiling math just to get things to line up perfectly. Not anymore. With Patterned.ai, you just type in 90s neon squiggles or Gothic damask, and it spits out a seamless, infinite tile instantly. If you're a textile designer, a wallpaper artist, or you sell print-on-demand products, this tool is an absolute goldmine. So, how does all this fit into what you're already doing? Let's talk about tool number 6, Adobe Firefly. This one is dangerously efficient because it lives right inside your existing workflow. We're talking directly inside Photoshop, Illustrator, and Express. Need to add a reflection or remove a lamppost? The generative fill does it instantly, and it matches the original lighting perfectly. But here's the absolute game changer for working professionals. Unlike some other AI generators out there, Firefly is trained on licensed Adobe stock. That means it is 100% safe for commercial client work. No copyright nightmares to worry about whatsoever. Now, there's a really important distinction in the AI generation space. A lot of people use Midjourney for pretty pictures, sure, but tool number 3, Leonardo.ai, that is your nuclear option for actual production assets. Just look at these capabilities. If you need a highly specific 3D icon for a dashboard, or maybe a top-down tree for a game map, Leonardo generates production-ready 3D assets with incredibly consistent lighting and styling. It even has this massively handy transparent background export option. For game designers and icon artists, you absolutely have to have this in your toolkit. Moving right along, let's get into the digital layout side of things.
Phase 3, UI, UX, and typography. If you do any UI or UX design, you are going to love this. Tool number 5, Uizard, is basically a cheat code. It works through this magical 3-step process. Step 1, you sketch a rough wireframe on a literal napkin. Step 2, take a photo of it. Step 3, Uizard instantly turns that photo into a high-fidelity, fully editable digital prototype in Figma. Buttons, images, the works. Even crazier, you can take a screenshot of an app you love, and Uizard will ethically extract the components, the buttons, the fonts, the spacing, so you can reverse engineer designs for inspiration. And hey, speaking of those fine details, we got to talk about typography. Did you know designers supposedly spend like 47% of their time just picking fonts? Ouch, that feels painfully true. Enter tool number 4, Fontjoy. It uses deep learning to generate absolutely perfect font pairings. You literally just click generate until you see a combination that makes your spine tingle. You copy the Google Fonts link directly into your CSS and, boonk, you permanently eliminate any accidental Comic Sans disasters.
Let's keep this momentum going. We're heading into Phase 4, character consistency and social media.
First up here is tool number 2, Canva Magic Studio. Now hold on. I know some design pros love to turn their noses up at Canva, but seriously, hear me out, you cannot ignore this arsenal. The Magic Design feature alone is insane. You type what you need, like Instagram story for pizza night, and it gives you instant, fully animated, on-brand layouts. Magic Media generates any image you need, and Magic Animate sets the whole thing in motion instantly. If you are a social media manager trying to feed that daily content beast and you needed those posts done yesterday, this is your ultimate crowd-pleasing weapon. And that brings us to the absolute holy grail. Tool number 1 is actually a combo, Midjourney plus InsightFace. Because look, the biggest headache with AI art has always been consistency, right? How on earth do you draw the exact same character twice? Well, here is the exact workflow. First, you generate your base character in Midjourney. Then, you use the InsightFace Discord bot to lock in that specific face and style. Finally, you can generate that identical character in entirely new poses. They can be crying, laughing, wearing a hat, whatever. For illustrators, webcomic artists, brand designers, this solves a massive problem. You literally never have to redraw the exact same nose 1,000 times ever again.
Okay, we've got our weapons. Let's pull it all together into the ultimate blueprint. Phase 5, the new AI workflow. Here is the whole evolution in a nutshell. Instead of staring blankly at a page trying to brainstorm, you just use Khoro. Instead of fighting the pen tool for 10 minutes to get a cutout, use Remove.bg. 3 hours of tedious branding mockups, Looka handles it instantly. Wasting time digitally drafting wireframes is completely bypassed with Uizard. Manual layout and motion for social media? Canva Magic Studio has your back. And redrawing characters 1,000 times is completely 100% solved by Midjourney and InsightFace. Literally every tedious manual method now has a brilliant AI replacement. And all of that brings us to the magic number for this entire explainer, 40. If you actually integrate these 10 tools into your daily process, you are going to save yourself roughly 40 hours of manual labor this month alone. Just think about that for a second. What could you do with a whole extra work week just handed right back to you? Because that extra time, it allows for the single most important mindset shift of your entire career. It's time to stop designing and start directing. You are no longer just a slow, meticulous pixel pusher executing basic tasks. With these tools handling the grunt work, you are elevated to a high-level creative director. Your job now is to guide the vision, curate the very best outputs, and focus entirely on that brilliant big picture strategy. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative question. Which of these AI tools are you going to use to reclaim your time today? Are you jumping straight to Fontjoy because you absolutely hate picking typography? Or are you itching to ethically reverse engineer some cool layouts with Uizard? Let me know your favorite tool in the comments, and be sure to subscribe so you can stay ahead of the curve, not behind it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I seriously cannot wait to see what you direct next.